Welcome to Weekly Meeple Chat, Week 7. And now we're on to our second segment for this week, where it's the top 10 games we don't want to play again. Now, the other segment was about the top 10 games that we do want to play again. So we looked at games that we only played once or twice. And there's a reason why we only played them once or twice, because we're probably some of them we've already sold.
Right.
We've already got rid of. And we're looking to probably get rid of every one of these games on our list. Now, it doesn't mean that the games are unpopular. They just don't meet our, what we like.
Exactly.
So there's plenty of movies on IMDb or on Rotten Tomato that people like that we don't like, and vice versa.
That's true.
It's just everybody has different opinions.
Exactly.
So you might see a game here that you like a lot, and that's fine. But hopefully this confirms some things for some of you. Who are on the fence about some things.
By the way, before we forget, I'm Julie, and this is David.
Yep, so here we go for number 10.
All right.
So number 10 for me is Gravwell. Now, we played this at RingCon in October. Now, you heard us say this a lot lately. That's one nice thing about going to a convention, is that you can play games that you want to try before you buy it. And we're glad that we tried this so that we wouldn't buy it. So we don't own this one. We tried it. It's an action management race game where you're trying to get out of a black hole. And so for me, it was way too chaotic. You're playing cards down and hoping that you move your spaceship. Remember that?
No.
Okay, so that's okay. You forgot it. But you think that you're doing some cool strategy, but then it's because of what someone else's plays, you're like, your whole strategy gets messed up. So for me, it was too chaotic. You can't really plan that well. So I'm not interested in playing this game ever again.
I'm glad I don't remember it.
All right, so for you...
It is Thunderbirds. And all I can say is I didn't watch the show, I guess, for a reason. And I definitely did not like this game. It is an abstract co-op game, and I definitely like co-op games, but I did not like this one. I just had to do too much to play the game. It was too much work. It just wasn't fun. Because you're having to work so darn hard to play the game, it just took all the fun out of it. It was just like, can this please be over? Can please be over?
Even though it's designed by the same guy who did Pandemic, which is a great game. When you say abstract, you're referring to the fact that it's kind of like a chess game where you got to move your people into certain vehicles and get them to certain places in the world or in the space. They complete different missions, and it just felt like, wow, this is not fun.
It wasn't fun.
Because you have to get things just right. Mm-hmm. Whereas in Pandemic, you have a little bit more freedom what you're doing. This is just so linear. So it's actually in our pile. When we've gone to swap meets at conventions, I bring this with me.
Trying to get rid of it.
Yeah, so we will eventually get rid of this game.
I can't wait.
All right, anyway, so number 9.
Oh, let's see here.
Okay, so I mentioned in the last video Ion. The company who made Cytosis also made Ion. So this is a hand management chemistry themed game. It doesn't really have any art. It's just basically, the electrons and protons and basically it just shows artwork of the atoms. So the theme is not very appealing because it's not very concrete. Mm-hmm. You're putting these things together in a hand management when you're like, okay, that's cool. I guess if you're into chemistry, you like putting together formulas, but I'm not.
Probably.
If it was more like, I want to put this chemical together and this chemical together to make something that, some kind of compound, where like a material or some kind of drug that helps people, then I'd be like, that thing would appeal to me more. This is one step removed where you're just putting formulas together.
They should use it in school.
Well, and even then I wouldn't use it in school because it's too dry. Whereas Cytosis, it has great artwork of a cell.
Mm-hmm. That is fun.
This is not, again, some people love this game, but for me, it's it's not concrete enough. So for you...
Mine was Tiny Epic Quest. It's a 1 to 4 player game, and it's a dice rolling fantasy game and a worker placement game. And let's just put it this way, we sold it because it was boring, it was fiddly, and I just did not have fun playing this, and it was like torture. I could not wait for it to be over, and I think it probably made me kind of cranky after we were done because it was so not fun for either one of us.
Right. Again,
Neither
it
one
tries
of
to
us liked it.
simulate like an old Nintendo game, like trying to remember what the name of it is with Link. I think. But anyways, it tries to simulate a fantasy Nintendo game, and it's just you're doing these things. You feel like, really, I got to do this now and this now. I just didn't care for it.
It was work again. It wasn't fun. It
but
was just.
But it felt like work because it's fiddly.
Yeah.
It didn't flow very well.
Not at all. Not
Unlike
at all.
on our other list, Legends of Andor, that flows very well. You feel like you're immersed in the theme, which
I don't
we'll
remember,
play again.
so I can't comment on that one.
All right, so here we go with our number 8.
All right.
All right, this might be a surprise for some. Eldritch Horror. And it's a cooperative game where you're rolling dice to try to prevent different mythos. You have different bosses, whether it be Cthulhu or other mythos that you're trying to stop from destroying the world. So to me, it was too random, although it is better than Arkham Horror, another game that I got rid of. But it's too punishing. So in this game, if you roll bad, it sets you back to the point like, really? I don't really want to play anymore. So because it's so luck-based.
Yeah.
And
it's no fun.
It's no fun. So
not at all.
The funny thing is, I said, if we're going to play a luck-based game, why don't we, even though it's not cooperative, let's play Talisman. So I brought out Talisman for the first time in years, and you and David loved it.
Yeah, I did like it. I liked it a heck of a lot better than this. This was miserable. But Talisman was a lot of fun. I do remember playing that.
Yeah,
that was fun.
If we're going to play a luck game that does beat you up a little bit, but not to
that
the
was
point,
not too bad.
Right? Not to the point where you feel like quitting, though.
True.
I showed you Talisman; you had a better time.
True.
So I just thought it was an interesting comparison there. Okay, for you,
The Grizzled. It's a World War I theme-based game. It's a cooperative card game. For me, I just needed way too much help to be able to play it, and it was frustrating because I needed so much help, and I really lost interest in it because it just was too much for me. It was just too much for my
it's a little abstract
brain to just grab hold of and be like, ooh, yeah, this is really intense, and I really like this. I was just like, no, can we be done now?
Yeah, I didn't mind it so much. I'd play this again, but I know that you and David didn't like it.
No, we did not.
So I don't know who I'm going to play with
Maybe
in the future.
Eddie.
Maybe.
Eddie might be able to, because it's 1 to 4 player.
Is it 2 to 4?
No, it's, I had it down here, 2 to 5.
Okay, so
you and Eddie
I just got to
play
find
it.
someone else to play with. I didn't mind it. I understand why you didn't like it, though. So this is where we're going to differ on this list sometimes. I know Julie won't ever play this again.
Nope.
So this is one that we won't sell because I actually like it. All right, so the next one.
All right, number 7.
Okay, Dead Panic. Now, this is a tower defense cooperative game that's zombie-themed. And for me, it's too fiddly compared to Castle Panic, which is an excellent tower defense game.
Yeah.
And the rulebook made it hard to play it as well. In fact, I even talked to the designer of the game, the publisher, and he admitted that the rulebook's not very good as well.
Did he now?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I think that if they they streamline some of the rules, they could make this a much better game, and I'll give it another try. But for now, it's gone. Maybe we'll buy a second edition if they ever put it out, because I think the idea was good. It's just not implemented well.
My number 7 is Camp Grizzly. So go from Grizzle to Grizzly. It's a 1 to 6 player game, and it is cooperative, and I do like cooperative games. However, I won't play this one ever again. Mainly for the reason is I totally dislike horror movies. I mean, I don't mind like suspenseful movies like Silence of the Lambs. Even that scares me. But I don't like the slasher movies.
You mean the comedies, slasher movies? I'm joking.
No, slasher movies. This is a slasher movie game. I don't run that way. I don't like it. I had a very hard time because I know...
Well, the artwork is pretty bloody, too.
The artwork is very bloody. And mind you, I don't mind blood, but I don't like this kind of blood.
Yeah, since you were a phlebotomist before you became a speech therapist.
It's one thing when I can control the blood. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's if you're into slasher movies, what's his name? Jason.
Jason, and
if you're into Jason,
it's based on Friday the 13th, basically.
Okay, if you're into that kind of stuff, you will love this game. Seriously, you will, because my kids and David really enjoyed it. They love those kind of games.
Well, we enjoyed it to a point.
But me, not so much.
We're going to keep it in the collection for if we want to play a game that's themed like this,
right?
But it is very luck based.
True, it is.
Not in a good way.
True.
The game beats you up, and the longer you're in the game, you're going to lose. So
and the more beat up you get.
So it's not a good tension.
No, but it's still not. I will never play this again.
Well, for us, we might play it again if we're in the mood to, because again, it's one of the few games out there that does this theme. It does the theme well. It just doesn't apply the mechanics as well. There could have been some ways maybe to make it less luck and punishing.
Maybe, yeah.
All right, so our number 6.
Number 6
is the Manhattan Project Chain Reaction. Now, I backed this on Kickstarter because the boys and I were so into the Manhattan Project board game. Now, it's a hand management, score the most points games, but because the cards are dual purpose cards where you got to figure out are you going to use it for A or B, it has too much analysis paralysis to be fun. So there was not much choice as well sometimes, like, well, I got to use this card for this. So we played it, and we did not like it because we liked the board game better, and I ended up getting rid of it. So you're looking at the dog there.
I am looking at the dog. I'm sorry. She's distracting me. Mine was Pandemic Iberia. It's 2 to 5 players, and it is a co-op race to find cures type of game, and it's frustrating. It's all I can say.
Well, it's not frustrating in a good way.
No, it's frustrating in a bad way.
And it has added an element
of these. As you helped me figure this out, they pasted on a train theme.
Yeah,
there was no reason for the trains to be on there.
Yeah, I didn't care for that.
No,
and because the trains were important to win the game, we just I know we stopped midway through one game. It was like our second game. So I'm done with this. I don't even care about it anymore.
Yeah.
Whereas compared to regular Pandemic or Pandemic Cthulhu, this one we did not like much. Now I'm willing to keep it still, to maybe give it another chance down the road. But I know that you don't want to play it.
I will never play it again. No.
Yeah. So for me, it's not on my list because I'm willing to try it again down the road.
And these are ones I will never do again.
Right.
Ever.
All right. So the next one, number 5. Is Tiny Epic Western. Now, so we like Tiny Epic Galaxies, but this is an area control influence set collection worker placement Western theme game, and which is weird though because it's an economics game more than a Western game. You're trying to control buildings instead of defending and robbing, or a stagecoach, for instance. So I thought it was a missed opportunity. Why couldn't the game be more about different things you do in movies, or instead of an economics for controlling buildings? And it has this weird dueling mechanic to control buildings. So if I want to control the bank, I'm going to duel you. I just didn't care for it. It's just a mismatch of themes. So this is definitely on my list to get rid of.
I don't really remember playing. I'm sure I did, but I don't.
Well, I know you didn't like it either.
Well, good. Then I don't have to worry about playing it again.
So for you, though, Atlantean.
Thank you. It's a 2-player game that it's an abstract tile laying game, and I found it to be extremely strategic for me personally. Maybe not for David, but for me it was. And one of the reasons why I will never play it again is because I know I will lose every single time I play it.
It's very mathy.
It's very, and I my brain just doesn't work that way anymore. And it's just, who wants to play a game where you know you're going to lose every darn time you play it?
So this is where we differ. I don't mind this game. I just know that you won't play it again.
Well, your brain isn't all goofy.
Yeah, so David, I played this with David. He likes this, and we played it a couple times way before we started keeping track of data.
I could see that he would like it.
Yeah, he beat me, I think, both times.
Good.
So as we played this recently, and we're going to go over the game, because we looked at our collection of games you haven't played in a while, and this is one game we picked. So we will be reviewing this in the future. And you're going to tell me why you didn't like it.
You'll hear me complain again.
Yep. All right, so number 4 is Crude Oil, the game. Now, this is a game where we quit midway through. That's how much we did not like it. So it's a commodity speculation. In this case, it's oil. You're rolling dice on a grid. You have an X and Y coordinate, basically, and you place different materials in this grid. And so if you roll the right coordinate, you'll get money. But if you don't roll the right coordinate, you get nothing. And so it's just a game where your turns can go by, we don't get anything.
Yeah, it's no fun.
And it's like, I don't even want to play it because at least you should get something.
Right, I agree.
And so it was like
nothing.
we didn't like it for that reason. That
No.
turns would go by and it would punish you. So this is a game we won't play again.
Mine is Red 7. It's not a fun card set collection game, in my opinion. Too much for me to remember. Very confusing. I think I asked David every time it was my turn, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah, it's hard to keep track of things.
It was just so many things you have to remember on your turn of what to do. And that's just too much for me to have to deal with. I have to have it cut and dry. It's 1 or 2 steps. Other than that, more than that, I'm done.
Right.
I'm done.
So I don't mind it so much. I don't mind having that many steps for you, though I understand why you don't like it. Because it's no fun if you're having to constantly remember things, how it works.
And it's no fun having to ask the partner you're playing with or persons you're playing with, how do I do this again? And the first couple of times they're like, okay, remember you do this. And about the 3rd or 4th time, they're kind of like, and so then you're kind of like, I'm just not going to ask and I'm just going to wing it. And you end up losing because you don't know what you're doing. So
I know you didn't like this one, but I don't mind this one so much. I would play this game again.
Well, I'm glad. You have fun.
All right, so this one we both disliked a lot.
Ugh.
Anno 1503, this is another game that we stopped playing. We at first we said, hey, this is kind of cool. Then it got so redundant. And it's an exploration, colony development game. So it's a boring race to score so many victory points that has almost no player interaction and which takes too long to play. So it's basically solitaire Catan with no trading with a slapped-on exploration phase.
I like the way you said that.
Yeah, that's
good.
because I said exactly what I put in the Board Game Geek when on the comments section. So I just read what you can find right now on Board Game Geek as to why I didn't like it. So
That's too funny.
But we stopped it. At first it was kind of cool, and then it's like, oh, this is all it is. And it kept on doing the same thing over and over. And then when you get fires and stuff like that, it's like, I don't want to deal with rebuilding now. So screw it.
So we're like, forget it.
Yeah, we got rid of it. All right, so next one for you.
Days of Ire, Budapest, 1956. First of all, I wasn't even born then. Didn't even know what was going on. It's a co-op Cold War game. It was so challenging for me that I always constantly needed help when we were playing this, and it was the same thing all over again.
Oops.
I needed help knowing what to do on my turn. I always had to ask. And I would try and do it on my own, and then I'd get this, well, what are you doing that for? And I'd be like, I don't know.
There's a lot going on in terms of
Too
modifiers.
much going on.
And to remember the different partisans that you get that are trying to help and where to go and the rules. It's more complicated than Pandemic, which you like.
Right.
Now, for me, I like the game, but I don't know who I'm going to play with because nobody in my family likes this game. And I think part of the reason is that you don't have a lot of choices on your turn. You only get like 2 actions. And there's not a lot of rounds. So really, you got to do so many things right in the limited actions that you have. And I don't mind that. But I just got to find the right people to play this with.
Yeah, and it won't be me ever again, ever.
So we differ on this one. I'm keeping this game in my collection. However, because I know you don't like it, I did not back the sequel to it, so to speak, with the expansion. So we didn't get...
Smart man.
So we backed this on Kickstarter, but we did not back the expansion and the sequel because I know you don't like it.
Thank you. We saved our money.
Yeah. All right, next one. Now this one... I hate more probably for you're going to find out for a reason than I should, and that's Star Wars Destiny, and it's a Star Wars head-to-head game where you're rolling dice and playing cards to defeat the other side. So for me, it has poor luck mitigation because you're dealing with luck from rolling the dice and luck from what cards you draw. So basically, it can be very miserable if you're not drawing well or rolling well. I can handle one level of luck. So, for instance, let me pick my cards and deal with just rolling the dice. But because you got to draw cards randomly, and roll dice randomly, I didn't like it. And so it's too swingy, and it's also collectible. And I probably don't like this more, for another reason, and that's because The Last Jedi is one of the worst movies I've ever seen. To the point, if Disney's listening, that I am not buying anything anymore from Star Wars. And I've spent thousands of dollars over the year. I still have my original Star Wars figures from 1977 to the first Star Wars movie, Empire Strikes Back. So I'm a lifelong Star Wars fan, but I, for instance, will not be buying anything anymore from the new Star Wars movie. So they've lost my money.
And I could have cared less on the Star Wars stuff.
You didn't play
so
this. I played this with
I
David.
never-
And again, we played a lot of collectible card games and things like that, but we both agreed after the second time we played it, nope, too swingy.
Nope. Okay, mine is Twilight Struggle. And I only played this because David really, really wanted to play with somebody. And our youngest son, David, absolutely positively refuses to play this.
Yeah, but Eddie likes it.
And Eddie wasn't home, and Eddie likes this game. So guess who got stuck having to play this? Me. It recreates the Cold War between the U.S. and USSR. It's only a 2-player game, so needless to say, I was stuck having to play. Way too long for me.
Well, you just didn't like the hand management. And
I didn't like the hand
attention.
management. I didn't like the length of the game. I didn't like any of it. And then once again, I needed help having to find out how to play the game.
Basically, it's a more complicated version of chess over 2 hours.
And when you have memory issues, and it just doesn't work. And I respect that he likes it, you like it, and I can see why you would like it. You are into that history type stuff.
Right.
But for someone who just, no. And it's our big joke now. It'll be like, well, what do you want to play?
Yeah, I'll say Twilight Struggle.
And I'm like, no, you can play by yourself. Play with Duchess, our dog. I'm not playing.
Yeah, you can't play it. I don't think you can play it solo. Maybe there's a solo app out there. But anyway,
no.
I like this game.
You'll
But
keep it.
But I don't like it enough to go seek out other players. I know I'll play it occasionally with different people.
Oh, sure.
All right, so here we go.
Number one.
Number one. Now, you did not play this game. I played this in Chicago
Never
2 years
heard of
ago. When I visited my brother 2 years ago. It's called Quelf. It's a party game with trivia. And so I find games annoying where you have to act things out.
Ugh.
Regardless, the scoring was so random that it didn't make sense why this card was worth so many points and this card was worth that many points. So I played someone else's copy. I will never buy it. In fact, I think it's the only game on the list that I rated a 2 out of 10.
Oh my gosh.
That's how much I dislike this game. Now, I will never rate. I don't think I've ever rated a game 1 because it is a game. I just don't like it at all. So
I guess I don't have to worry about ever playing
Nope,
it.
you won't
then.
ever play
Woo-hoo,
that.
Thank goodness. Okay, my number one is The Hobbit. Where do I begin? First of all, I didn't like the book. Second of all, I hated the movie.
yeah, I don't like the movie
So
either.
third of all, I'm not going to play a game where I don't like the movie. I don't like the book. I don't like the theme. I don't like hobbits. I mean, I'm almost a hobbit size, and I don't like hobbits.
Yeah,
It's-
it's unfortunate though because it's a dice rolling
and I love dice rolling. You guys know that if you've seen
worker
other
placement
videos.
type game.
You know I love my dice. Not so much on this game.
Yeah, the theme you did not like.
Oh, I hated
at
the
all.
theme. I could not wait for this game to be over. I did everything I could to get through the rest of the game to play. And once it was over, I pushed away from the table and said, never, ever
Yeah, you're polite
again.
about it at least.
Don't ever ask me to play because it'll be a big
Yeah,
no.
unfortunately, I like this game.
That's
and
okay.
when we look at our collection for what games that we might want to get rid of.
I always say this one, but he won't let me.
Yeah, because I like it. But anyways, that's our top 10 list of games that we will not play again. Now, I won't say never.
Oh, never for me on mine. Trust me, never on my list.
Yeah,
Ever.
but it's probably 99% chance we'll never play it again. So I hope you enjoyed this segment. Please don't forget to subscribe and like.
Thank you for watching. We really appreciate it.
All right, take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.